Hi, I'm Christy. Today I want to talk to you about guardianship and options that you have for your loved one. Choosing the best option to protect an adult who has special needs is one of those areas that's very complicated, confusing, and overwhelming. Now, I should pause here and say I am not a lawyer. I have no legal background. The information that I have comes from websites and links that I have back on my blog. You can find that at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in December of 2018. I also recommend that you consult an attorney to make sure that the information that you're given and the decisions you make are specific to your situation and to your area. When AJ was a freshman in his IEP meeting, his teacher told me that I would need to get guardianship of him when he turned 18. Wow, never thought about that one before, but that makes sense. Okay, thanks for making me aware of this. I really appreciate that. And then I pushed it aside and forgot about it. Now, he did remind me several times a year, and thank you, I appreciate that, but it's a long way away. I'm not going to worry about it now. Well, suddenly AJ was a senior. Oh boy, now I got to seriously think about this because that's like right around the corner. My original thought was that to try and be in court with him right around his 18th birthday so that we could have guardianship and everything would be covered. But during his senior year, his teacher said, well, you know, I've rethought this a little bit. I've had some other experiences, had some parents make some comments to me. I really think you should talk to some of the other parents in the class that you've gotten to know, see what they've decided and why, and then make your own decision. Well, here we are a few weeks away from AJ turning 19 as I record this, and we still don't have guardianship of him. But honestly, I'm kind of glad. The research that I've done over the last few months has led me to believe that guardianship may not be in our best interest. Let me back up and explain a little bit more. In most states, when you turn 18, you become responsible for making your own decisions. Now again, it varies from state to state. It can be as late as 21, but for most states it's 18. This means that parents no longer have access to school records, medical records, financial records, anything like that. Now most 18-year-olds are relatively capable of being able to make these kinds of decisions. But when a person has special needs, that's not necessarily the case. That means that making the decision on how to best protect your loved one can become very crucial. There's a link from SN Alliance that says, quote, when considering guardianship, it's important to maintain a balance between an individual's privacy and independence and the desire to protect a loved one, end quote. Now, I hadn't thought about it exactly like that, but I like their point, and I have to say I agree with it. I've discovered that in our area, we have two basic options. We have guardianship and we have power of attorney. For guardianship, a family law self-help center says, quote, guardianship means obtaining legal authority to make decisions for another person, end quote. Family.laws.com says, quote, guardianship is classified as expressed legal permission granted to an individual, allowing them authoritative power over the affairs of another individual, end quote. Another quote from SN Alliance, quote, full guardianship affects a wide range of personal decision-making and may not be necessary, end quote, in all situations. I have another article that says typically parents are responsible for making decisions for their minor children, but once they become an adult, they're responsible for making their own decisions. Now, if you have an adult who's not capable of making some or all of those decisions, then they need someone to help them. This is where the court can step in and appoint a guardian to assist them, and the guardian would be somebody who is capable of making those decisions. Again, in Nevada, there are 3 different kinds of guardianship, which kind of complicates things, but it kind of makes sense too. The first is guardianship over the person. This means you have decision-making over the physical well-being and care of an individual, specifically things like health care, living situation, school, if that's applicable. The second kind is guardianship over the estate. This means financial decisions. I have a link that has this warning, quote, court approval is typically needed to spend or sell any of a person's assets, even after a guardian is appointed, end quote. So this just says that guardians may need official approval for financial decisions, which means the court is still involved in these kinds of things. The third type of guardianship is over the person and the estate, which basically combines the two before. It gives you decision-making power over personal decisions, medical, and financial. Now, I should pause and note that guardianship has the responsibility of filing paperwork with the court on a regular basis. I believe the frequency can vary, but usually it's at least annually. This is especially true if you have any kind of financial responsibility. It's also possible that there are other situations that will require court approval before they're made. So again, I recommend that you research it and find out what the requirements and responsibilities are in your area. To officially obtain guardianship in our area, I've been told there's a self-help center in our courthouse that deals with the guardianship. You can go down there, get all the paperwork you need, ask some basic questions, and the people there are very happy to help you. Then you submit the paperwork and you wait for an official court date. At that court date, you take your loved one with you and you go before a judge. And I believe that a decision is typically made right there in the courthouse. Now, as an alternative, there's an article that says there are alternatives, and I've got links over on the website. Again, this is specific to Nevada, but most frequently used is the durable power of attorney for health and or for finances. I have a friend who did this for her loved one and said she got the forms, filled them out, had them notarized, and she was done. Pretty simple. Now, there's another option that is called a representative payee. This means that you have the authority to pay bills, cover expenses, make sure that funds are being used appropriately, those kinds of things. I know that Social Security, Supplemental Security Income, SSI, offers this as an option, and seems to me I ran across it in at least one other of the services I've done for AJ. So at this point, we're leaning towards going with the power of attorney for both health and for finances, as well as the representative payee. I still need to do a bit of research, and I do want to talk to a lawyer to make sure that that's the right decision in our situation. But that's what we're leaning for now. So my thoughts for you are this. First of all, know that you have options to protect your loved one. 2, this is a complicated area and it does vary from state to state. So definitely research what is specific to your area and your situation. And again, I would really recommend considering getting a legal consultation to make sure that the information you have is accurate. Now, some and possibly even most of these things can be done on your own, which means you don't have to have a lawyer do it for you. Now, I'm all for saving the money, but again, you've got to make sure that the information you have is accurate and specific to your area. Again, I think that an initial consultation with an attorney could be a really smart move. Another option would be to talk to other parents or caregivers, see what they decided and why. Again, this might not be completely accurate, but it will help you understand what others in similar situations are thinking and why they decided what they did. It's possible that if you have guardianship of your loved one, it will disqualify you for SSI income, or disqualify your loved one because they'll consider household income, not just the individual's income. So again, I would talk to a lawyer and see how that works for specific confirmation. Most of this information should be available in your local courthouse or from free legal services in your area. I know we have a couple different options in our area, and I've used their websites to help me with this information. Now, you can always Google the information as well, and I have done that for some of these links as well. I just need to remind us all, just so that we are consciously remembering that we need to make sure that we're smart about what we find on the internet and not just blindly follow it, but confirm that the information is accurate. So my question for you this week is this. Have you addressed this issue with your loved one? What did you decide? What was the process like? I'd love to hear what you decided and why. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog. Again, that's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in December of 2018. I'd appreciate it if you'd share this with anybody that you think would find it helpful. I'd love to help as many families as I can. Over on the website as well, you can find a link to sign up for my email list. This will make sure that you find out about all of the pieces in this process, as well as new content as it's released. I do my best to only send things that I think you'll find helpful, informational, and useful. I'm really grateful to have a game plan in place and to be finding that it may be simpler than I first expected it to be, proving once again that life is good and there is never a dull moment.